Ross asks a question. My question relates to a concept you've mentioned in your podcast before, specifically about being a hinge pusher. Okay, I break down, it's a quadrant, and on the top I have push, pull, and down the sides, hinge, squat. I am a classic push hinger. My bench press in high school was, when I weighed 160, was probably more than our listeners. I never had to train the deadlift, but I was always the best deadlifter. My problems are the pull and squat. When I told Pavel about this, he laughed because he said clearly he's a pull hinger. So I hope that, I write about it more in Easy Strength Omni book. You can buy the book and read it there. I've also watched the videos on your channel about the quadrants and who may fit into quadrants. For example, Pavel's a hinge puller and Olympic lifters generally are push squatters. My question is, how do you know what quadrant you best fit into? You mentioned in one video that you weren't sure if rock climbers were good pull squatters due to nature or nurture. At the elite level, it's going to be both, okay? There was a funny picture of me at the Nationals, the American Open in Olympic lifting. I was standing there, and the other 100, and this is a while ago, 110 kilo lifters were all about this tall compared to me. And then my mom took a picture of me at the California State track meet where all the other discus throwers were here to me. Well, I probably made a better hammer thrower than anything else because I'm a good height and size for a hammer thrower. Too short to be a discus thrower, too tall to be an Olympic lifter. So nature and nurture are big. There's the joke I always make, I was this close to make it in the NBA. Ha ha ha, sorry about that. Ha ha ha, we're all laughing. It's going to be both. And if you want to be great in your sport, it helps to have the DNA, and it also helps to be born and raised in an area where the sport you want to be great in is really popular. Because you want to be playing sports as a 5-year-old with college students and learning on the fly constantly. That's what I did. That's why I think one of the reasons I was a pretty good athlete. Clearly there's some DNA there, but also too, I was competing with my brothers, college athletes, when I was just little. So you learn on the fly to do certain things, like don't drop the ball. He follows up Ross with this. Does it come down to anthropomorphy and body type? I know it's been just debunked to an extent. But comparing one of my friends and I'm 6'2" and 100 kilos, and he's 5'11" and 80 kilos. He can do pull-ups endlessly, whereas I would say I can perform better at hinging movements, thinking kettlebell swings and cleans. Well, you already picked up on it. Most people who've been in the weight, now for those of you who haven't been lifting for 2 or 3 years, or you've only lifted in one gym or only by yourself in your home gym, you might not understand this as well. But fortunately, I was in Division I weight rooms for a long time, and so I got a chance to see the whole spectrum of human abilities, and pretty quickly you can look over and go, yeah, okay. We had a guy at Utah State who could strict curl 225. Strict curl 225. Now, the joke always was he couldn't bench it, but the guy was just born to curl. I mentioned in other podcasts, I had a student who did 66 pull-ups in a row, dropped down, shook his arms up, jumped back up, and got to 100. When you see something like that, you kind of say to yourself, I'd like to say I coached that, but you all know that would be the DNA side of things. And his father was a police sergeant, and he had been training his son since youth. The boy was also not very tall, but basically he was, built of granite. So some nature, some nurture. If you've been in the weight room a while, you probably looked around and certain things came very easier to you. Certain things you had to struggle with. The fact that I was not born to squat is why I invented the goblet squat, because I was so frustrated trying to teach something I wasn't naturally good at. So that's kind of how it happens. You probably are a hinger And it'll be interesting for you to figure out now what comes more naturally. I'm going to guess you're a push hinger just because of what you said about you and your friend. But I mean, I can't tell from, letters on a screen. I hope that helped. It's a fun question. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Easy Strength Omnibook. Find it at danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore.